Cosmic rain from fluffy comets. There was vindication for an American scientist this week. 11 years ago, Dr. Lou Frank, a professor of physics at the University of Iowa, proposed a controversial theory that would transform our understanding of the solar system. Dr. Frank had discovered some dark spots while studying satellite pictures of the Earth. Most scientists thought these spots were simple flaws in the camera's image. But Dr. Frank had another idea. He believed he was seeing temporary holes in the atmosphere caused by the impact of small comets, tens of thousands of them hitting the Earth's atmosphere every day. This week, at a meeting of the American Geophysical Union in Baltimore, Dr. Frank was able to present proof of his theory. New images from the powerful cameras of NASA's Polar spacecraft. They showed clouds of disintegrating vapor hitting the Earth's atmosphere and leaving large holes 25 to 40 kilometers wide. Dr. Frank, welcome to Quirks and Quarks.
Thank you.
So what would one of these comets look like?
A dull gray thing, about 5-6 meters across, all right, with a surface that probably has some bumps on it. And what we'd really want to know is whether there's something like nature's saran wrap on it, or whether it has a thin, dusty carbon envelope to it. What was the cloak, all right, that allowed it to get that close to the sun, all right?
So it's cloaked in some way. Does it
Yes.
shell on the outside?
Yeah, it can't be raw snow. It has to have a protective coating.
And then what's it like on the inside?
Just powdery snow. If you walked up to it, if you could walk up to it, you could put your hand right to it, all right? Hardly know any difference between pushing your hand through a mist and putting it through smoke.
So it's a really fragile.
Yeah, it is real fragile.
So what happens as these things approach the Earth?
The ones that are approaching Earth, that are getting close to the Earth, are coming near our ionosphere, that ball of electric charge that surrounds our planet out to distances of 2,000 to 3,000 kilometers. And what happens is the ones that approach the Earth get near this region, they charge up, and whatever delicate shell they have around them breaks up. And once the shell, this protective shell of these delicate little objects, it breaks open, it only takes the sun 1 to 2 minutes to convert 20 to 40 tons of water snow into water vapor. In other words, their demise is sort of brutal.
So what effect has this had on the Earth over its history?
Well, what you're looking at is if you take 10,000 years and you have this nice cosmic rain coming in on us, then every 10,000 years you're going to get about 5 centimeters of water. Now, that may not mean much to you, or not seem that impressive. We're not going to get flooded out. But over the age of our planet, it turns out to be the same amount as in our oceans, in our atmosphere, and on our polar caps. And that is impressive. So it raises immediately the question as to whether our oceans are indeed due to this cosmic rain, or indeed we're just here at the beginning, as I learned in high school.
So what are the implications then if you're saying that this stuff came from space?
Well, this stuff came from space. First of all, immediately we'll want to know what the organic materials are in them, all right? We know there won't be a lot of dust, but that's not really a worry or a goal to understand. What we need to know is how much of the basic organic building blocks, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur, etc., are in these objects. Can they be the original nutrients? Or, as some people suggested, and some people would like to add that they're bringing in more complex molecules, and that would provide the stew.
So are you suggesting, Dr. Frank, that all of the ingredients that led to life on Earth could have come from space, from these fluffy comets?
A good part of them, yes. Not the metals, they're probably already here. But I'm talking about, the basic building
This has been a long road for you. There have been critics all the way along who haven't agreed with your theories. How are you feeling now?
It's fine. It's fine. I think we ought to proceed. I don't think, I think we ought to proceed with the science. So that's what it is. I think we ought to open up our minds, and we should also act as guides for the younger people who will probably spend a lot of their lifetime studying the changes that must be made in our knowledge of the planet and the solar system.
Dr. Frank, thank you very much for speaking with us.
All right, fine. You take care now.
Dr. Lou Frank is a professor of physics at the University of Iowa. Many scientists remain skeptical about Dr. Frank's theory. One described the evidence as convincing but still controversial. NASA has posted pictures from the polar satellite on the Internet. You can get to them by going to our site at www.radio.cbc.ca.